Greetings from Tokyo. This is Daisuke, and I hope all of you are doing very well today, my dear friends. I was talking to a friend online, and he was a very dear friend of mine, and we were talking via direct message. He asked me a very interesting question, which was, Daisuke, do you ever feel sad or down or blue? And if so, do you watch movies in order to try to pick yourself up and try to feel a little bit better? And the answer is yes. I do that quite often. I am, I consider myself, I'm very grateful for the things that I have, and I'm very grateful for the experiences I've been able to experience in my life thus far. I think I'm very lucky in many respects. But of course, also I'm only human. So there are many times where I feel maybe somewhat stressed or somewhat down, or maybe physically exhausted or tired and maybe worn out. Sometimes I feel like what's the phrase? What's that beautiful phrase in that Mike Leigh film, All or Nothing? I feel like an old tree that doesn't have any water. I sometimes feel like that. I feel sapped of energy sometimes, and it gets me down. And so I do have those moments, and they do occur with a certain degree of frequency. And so, yes, I do feel that way. And then the question is, how do I cope with those sorts of situations? Well, I guess it depends on the circumstances. If it's something that's very serious, and maybe it involves some kind of effort on my part, then I'll try to focus on it as best as I can. And so it usually means that I tend to not to want to divert my attention away from the matter. But not counting those serious matters, if it's a situation that is relatively not so serious, or maybe it's relatively minor, then yes, I feel like I'll try to want to maybe forget about it, or to try to feel better just by putting my mind putting my mind off of that and just focusing on something different. And what better way to do that than with watching a movie, right? Because when you watch a movie, especially something that's just fun entertainment, or something that is quite deep and rich, and it envelops you, it's something that really can help you, or it helps me anyway. I don't know, it feels so, sometimes when you watch a film, it just feels so it feels so cleansing in a way. It's like, I don't know, it feels like taking a shower, or just feeling some kind of refreshing, like water or something like that. I sometimes feel replenished. Or it's like going to, it's like, I don't know, sometimes when you play a video game like Legend of Zelda, and you're Link, and you have only a little bit of energy left, so you have to go to the special lake with the power, and then you touch the water, and then your life force goes back up to full maximum force. Well, I sometimes feel that way when I watch a film. The film is something that gives me energy. And so, and of course it depends on the film. If I'm very sapped of energy, I don't tend to want to watch something that will require a lot of my time and focus and energy. So I won't watch something that is very intense like that. But I will try to watch something that I'm usually familiar with, I will try to watch something that I usually am comfortable with watching, something that I know the plot and the ending, and so it doesn't necessarily surprise me in that respect. But it's something that it feels like a warm glove, or it feels like meeting an old friend, or it feels like, again, going to the well and basically reviving your energy level up. So that's how I view watching films when I'm feeling down. And what films are these, for example? Well, I mean, it really depends. It can be anything. It can be, I've mentioned the films before. Maybe it's a Hitchcock film, or maybe it's Big Trouble in Little China, or maybe it's I don't know. What was one that I was talking about before? I haven't talked about it very much on this channel, but I'm a big fan of The Godfather and The Godfather Part 2. I enjoy watching those films very much, and so maybe it's watching those. I haven't spoken about the films at all, but I'm a big fan of Star Wars, and so maybe it's watching The Empire Strikes Back, or the prequels. Incidentally, I do love the prequel trilogy. I do love it more than I did when I first saw them. When I first saw the prequel trilogy, I really didn't like them at all. But now I watch the films, and they've really grown on me. I think that's part to do with the fact that I think my kids enjoy them very much. But anyway, that's another story. What was I talking about? Yes, so and also there are many other films that I watch to get my mind off of certain stresses in my life, and it works for the most part. Just the other day I was feeling a little bit exhausted, and I was encouraged by a friend of mine who is a big James Bond fan. And I'm a Bond fan, but my friend is an even bigger James Bond fan, and he knows so much more than I do. But I was so encouraged by that, and so around that time I was feeling a little bit just exhausted, and I felt a little bit kind of out of it. So I decided to visit the films here. So View to a Kill and where is it? Here we go. The Living Daylights. And so these were, for me, just a real fun time. And I really was so grateful for these films, because they just showed me that you can just have a good time and enjoy yourself, and have thrills and scares, and have great music, and live a certain adventure for an hour or two vicariously through this character, as played either by Roger Moore or by Timothy Dalton, and just have a good time. So I felt much better after I watched these films, and I felt like my energy level was back up again. And so I think this is really depending on again, what your tastes are, and what your experiences are, and what mood you're in, right? But I guess the question for you is, do you feel the same way? In other words, are there times when you feel maybe not 100%, maybe you feel a little bit exhausted or stressed, or a little bit down in the dumps, so to speak? And if so, are there films that you watch in order to pick yourself back up, in order to raise your energy levels? And do they make you feel a little bit better, at least temporarily so, perhaps? If so, what are those films? I'd really love to hear what your thoughts are on this, because it's a pretty, I think it's a pretty interesting discussion, because it's very personal and individual. And it's something that is very much tailored to your own experience and your own background and your own views and opinions on what you like and what you don't like. So this is the stuff I'd really love to hear. about. So I'd love to hear what your thoughts are and what your own views are on this. And if this applies to you, what are some of the films that you watch in order to make you feel a little bit better? So yes, with that in mind, my friends, please feel free to leave your thoughts and comments down in the comments section below, and I will certainly do my best to respond to those comments, and hopefully from there we can have a nice discussion about this, because again, this is one of the great things about film, and it can serve so many facets and so many functions and purposes. You know, sometimes you watch a film, or at least I watch a film in order to really try to get a different perspective, and sometimes that can be very fulfilling and rich. Sometimes it can be very intense and almost it can be quite an intense experience. But then also there are times when I want to watch a film in order to, as an escape, or as some kind of fantasy, or something that makes me feel rejuvenated after the film is over. And then there are maybe a mixture of those two tones, and maybe there's an educational aspect to watching a film, and there's also just a feeling of maybe cultured learning about a different culture or a different lifestyle, or learning about a different life view or perspective, or a country or a region of the world that I don't know. And all these other aspects of trying to learn about the environment. But also, there are just times when one wants to watch a film, when I want to watch a film, in order to just feel better. And gosh, this is so great about cinema. It can serve so many functions, and it, again, ultimately comes down to your own personal experience. So with that in mind, my friends, I would love to hear what your films are, the films that you watch when you feel down. And because again, that can show me what films are out there for you that have this particular meaning for you. And from there, I think many great discussions can grow. So please feel free to share with me down below, and let's have a discussion. Okay, my friends, thank you very much for putting up with this video. I'm very sorry for the haphazard nature of it. Please forgive me. But I hope you are happy and healthy and well, and that you are continuing to watch a lot of great movies. So until we meet again, my friends, cheers. Man, one of these days I really should do a video on films, great films from San Francisco, or great films set in San Francisco. That's a good idea for a video, I think. So what would be those films? It would have to be View to a Kill. That would be one film I could talk about. Vertigo. That would be another film I could talk about. The Room, right? The Room, the Tommy Wiseau film, The Room. That's also set in San Francisco, right? So that would be another film I could talk about. Oh, that's a great topic. I should think about that. So films set in San Francisco. Ah, wow. Let's see. Wow.